My old dishonest friend, SimpleBlackTheory, did it again. He responded to one of my videos. You would think that after our last interaction, he would learn a lesson, draw certain conclusions, be extra careful with his arguments. Nope, seems like he didn't learn the thing, and he still doesn't know how to listen properly.
You were basically saying that Western countries, which America is, does not suffer from patriarchy. The examples you use is that men suffer too, and if men suffer too, that means there's no patriarchy. But that does not mean that men and women suffer in the same length when we know that patriarchy means that men have more power. Your video literally pushes the idea that men and women suffer the same thing, so there's no power imbalance.
What happened, SimpleBlackTheory? Now my video pushes the idea that men and women suffer equally? What happened to me saying men have it harder than women? Why the sudden switch? Why not stick to your original statement? And even with the switch, you got it wrong. Again, never in my video did I say equally. I said women suffer and men suffer. And we suffer mostly from the same things. Suffering mostly from the same things does not equal to suffering the same way. So once again, learn how to listen properly. And if you guys expected him to actually address my points, nope, not again. By the way, how much must it hurt when your whole video gets 2,331 likes and the two top comments cooking you have 11,000 likes each? The first one said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And the second comment said, you are arguing against things he's not saying. There are many more comments like this, and this is even before I had a chance to respond. Yikes. Now let's address his other point, that in the video I said patriarchy doesn't exist in America. He even pinned this as a comment under his first video. And he uses the beginning of my video to somehow prove it. So let's listen to it carefully. Patriarchy, patriarchy, patriarchy. If you listen to some modern feminists, it can sound like men today live in paradise and women are in the trenches just trying to survive. And look, I'm not going to pretend. In some parts of the world, it's still true that women struggle a lot simply for being women. Traditions, and sometimes even laws, still put them at a disadvantage. And in the 21st century, that shouldn't be the case. But most of the influencers painting men as the oppressors and women as the oppressed are from Western countries, mostly the US. And they are generally talking about women's lives there. Where exactly did I say that patriarchy does not exist in America? Nowhere, because I didn't say it. But some may say, well, you implied it. And I disagree with that too. What I basically said is that some modern feminists push the idea that even today in the US, men are the oppressors who live in paradise and women are the oppressed who live in the trenches just trying to survive. And I think any sane person would understand and agree that this is generally not the case. Instead, and this is what I talked about in the video, my claim was that both women and men suffer, that we mostly suffer from the same things and that we need each other to fight those struggles. Now lastly, if you watch enough of my videos, you know how careful I normally am with words and definitions. To make a statement as strong as patriarchy doesn't exist in the US or anywhere else, I would first need to define patriarchy, talk about what patriarchy actually is, and only then go into details. It would probably be a pretty complicated topic. And I understand that for a person like SimpleBlackTheory, it's a pretty hard concept to grasp, that some people take their time to understand and research a subject, that some people are careful with words and definitions instead of throwing around blanket statements. And about the predictability, please watch what I recorded 2 days ago, right after I finished recording my first response to SimpleBlackTheory. So it is Saturday, June 6th, 9:37. I don't know if you can see it. I just finished recording the first response to SimpleBlackTheory. So you can see here that it's not posted. And I was just wondering, how predictable is this guy? Well, I kind of have an idea, right, what I'm going to post. And now I'm thinking, what will be his response? So knowing the guy, right, what is he going to do? He's going to just dismiss and ignore my points. He will still not address the main point of my video and actually the argument that I made in the video, because he basically just addressed the argument that he made up. And probably what he will do is he kind of will double down. In this case, my forecast is he's going to double down. Oh, the guy says that there is no patriarchy. The guy saying there's no patriarchy in the US. The guy saying that the patriarchy doesn't affect women, doesn't affect men. Something along those lines. So this is my forecast. Let's see how predictable the guy is.